Hello guys, Greg back with another video. Firstly, quick apology for the lack of content recently. It's been a bit of a hectic time, so I haven't had time to get any videos out, so apologies for that. But today I'm going to do a review on a fragrance from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. The one that I'm going to review is this one that you can see here, called M7 Oud Absolu. Now a lot of you might remember there was an original M7 fragrance that was released in 2002, and that one's now been discontinued. And M7 was the fragrance that brought oud to Western designer perfumery. It was quite out there, quite avant-garde, quite different for the time. Remember, we're talking 13 years ago when nobody knew what oud was. So I figure that's probably why it was discontinued, because it didn't sell well commercially, it didn't appeal to the masses. But it was an amazing fragrance, and so is this one. So I'm not going to make this a comparison video. I'm going to make this a video for anyone that hasn't tried the original M7, or anyone that doesn't want to spend a fortune seeking out a vintage, because to be honest I don't really think you need to. This is a great fragrance in its own right. So this is part of a series of fragrances called La Collection Héritage, the Heritage Collection. And there's 8 fragrances in that series, and they're all sort of reforms of older fragrances. So you've got Jazz, you've got Rive Gauche, YSL Pour Homme, there's some ladies fragrances in there, and they've all got this similar sort of design bottle that they come in. I'm not sure who the perfumers are on this one, but it's probably the same ones that that did the original M7. So prices for this one are £62 in the UK, just one size, 80ml. Excuse me, but obviously you can pick it up cheaper if you look around. So let's have a look at the presentation to start with. Hopefully you can see it's got this really cool angled cap on here. You've got this gold writing there, you've got the accords written on the side, which is a cool feature, and all the way around this glass is a sort of matte black lacquer, which really does look classy, and you've got just a little gap at the bottom that you can see there so that you can see the juice. Let's take the cap off. It's a plastic cap. Show you the sprayer. Gives out a lot of juice, and already that's pretty strong stuff. Let's have a quick look at the box. Nothing too much to say, you can see that. So a really classy presentation, looks really good. So let's get into what it smells like. I'm not going to talk about the listed notes, I never do that anymore, but I will put them in the caption for you now. But what I'm going to do is talk about what I actually get from the fragrance. So right off the top of this one, I get a real blast of citrusy fruit. Very fresh. It smells kind of, it reminds me of orange blossom or neroli, that kind of sort of note that's in there. It makes me feel uplifted, and it gives me a real sense of calmness, which is rare for a fragrance to have that kind of real effect on me, but this one does. Now after only a few seconds there's a strong patchouli note that comes in. Now when I say that it's strong, I don't mean strong as in like a dirty earthy sort of patchouli note. I mean strong in terms of its place within the fragrance. It dominates for that period, but it's more, I'd say, more of a kind of woody patchouli rather than an earthy one. Now the transition on this fragrance from top to base is pretty quick for me. I mean, after probably only about 10 minutes it starts to change, and I get a resinous waxy accord in there. I get quite a lot of incense coming in. Also get a fair bit of amber in here. Now I said I wasn't going to make this a comparison video, but the main difference from this one and the original M7 for me is the amber, because in the original M7 there was a whole ton of amber in there to my nose, but it is very much toned down in here, although you can obviously detect it. The oud starts to come in quite early, probably after only about 15 minutes. Now to me it's very synthetic oud. Now that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Synthetic doesn't have to be a negative word, and in the case of this fragrance it definitely isn't. It's just a mild, sort of calm take on oud. It's not that dirty barnyard type of oud that we get in some fragrances. It's almost even fresh, I would say, and the freshness that starts right at the top of this fragrance carries on all the way throughout. As it develops, more and more things happen. You get some really great wood notes in there. There's a myrrh accord in here, which gives a little bit of bitterness to the fragrance. There's some powderiness, which will really appeal to people that sort of love that powdery feel to a fragrance. And there's something in there that I would describe as sort of camphorous. Something. I'll tell you what it reminds me of, the rosemary note that you get in YSL Rive Gauche. There's that sort of camphorous type of note or accord in here that I get. But yeah, basically the when the fragrance develops, it's all about that sort of calm synthetic oud note that's in there. Give you a few words to describe the fragrance. I'd say that it's vibrant, it's uplifting, it's fresh, but it's also deep and it's also dense as it develops. It's a very manly fragrance, and I would say who the wearer of this becomes mysterious and intriguing. Say that Daniel Craig as James Bond would wear this fragrance, and there's a sexy side to it as well. I'd say Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey would wear this. Not that I've watched that film, of course, wouldn't dream of it, but definitely got that mysterious, classy, manly edge to it. Purpose and occasion on this one, I say for the more mature crowd, I would say definitely 25 and up, probably even 30 and up, that it sort of works better for. More of a cold weather fragrance, but the bright citrus in there and the fact that the deeper, darker notes in here are not overpowering means it could work on sort of cool spring days as well. It's a fragrance you should definitely wear with purpose. I mean, if you're going somewhere classy or special, you're wearing a suit maybe, don't waste this fragrance going to the shops or cutting your lawn. You know, it's much better than that. Comparison wise, yeah, it does remind me of quite a few fragrances. It definitely reminds me of the original M7, obviously. It reminds me of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. It reminds me of the other one, Versace Oud Noir. There's quite a lot of similarities to that fragrance as well. Performance wise, average longevity for me, probably about 6 hours. So maybe for me, actually, that's a little bit above average because I don't get great performance out of many fragrances. Sillage and projection are, again, average, maybe slightly above. It does leave a really nice trail. You will get noticed, but it's not a beast mode fragrance by any means. So, finally, let's rate M7 Oud Absolu. I'm going to give this one a really, really good 9 out of 10. It's an excellent, interesting designer fragrance, far above most of the designer scents that are coming out these days. It is different to the original M7, but not different enough for you to go out and spend a fortune looking for a vintage bottle. This one is absolutely fine. It's a really, really good fragrance. So there you go, guys. That is at the end of another review. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was useful for you. If you do check this one out, do let me know. Please do rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Cheers, guys.